Good morning, Luke, and welcome to Business Spotlight Interview. It's great to have you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to the interview. So to get started, for the audience, maybe just give us a rundown of yourself, your business, how long you've been in business, where you're located, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So Sauls Storage Group is a commercial real estate brokerage firm, and we focus and specialize in nothing but self-storage. We'll do, if it's storage related, we'll do it. So that means development sites, entitled land. We'll help sell those all the way to, through stabilization, lease up, C of O. If it's storage related, we can help those clients. We are based in Carrollton, Georgia, but really don't have much of a geographic boundary. Our firm personally carries a license in 7 states, and we've got some strategic partnerships that allow us to work in about 30 states. We actually just listed our first international storage facility. It's in the country of Barbados. So if anybody wants a vacation and a business, it's a great area to visit. We have been in the storage industry for, I'm a partner in Sauls Storage Group with my mother, Jane, since about 2006. And then we've been in the brokerage side of it since about 2018. So that's kind of the Sauls Storage Group side, and then how I got in it. I was in college pursuing a degree in accountancy. And I went to college with my older brother. And so he was on the same track. He did the accounting degree. He got a job directly out of school, full-time working, using his accounting degree, going to school at nights. And then knowing that once he got his CPA, that, the track for that was to go to a Big Four and put in crazy hours and, really do your time. That's the process for accounting. And I was sitting back and I was watching him, and I was like, I don't think that's the route for me. But continued to pursue my accounting degree, have an accounting degree. But while I was in college, I got my real estate license. And then my junior year, sold my first self-storage facility. And then, that saved me from getting a real job. So since then, it's been all in on storage and all in on real estate.
I love that. I love the connection back to your family and in your journey to where you're currently at. And congratulations on going international. That's a big step.
Yeah. We're excited. I think it'd be pretty cool. My wife's been like, "Are we going to go down there? I'm like, "We're going to have to at least make one trip sooner or later." So,
yeah, if you haven't been there, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a business write-off, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She's all in for it.
Oh, super. All right. Let's pull back to the big picture. So, the word success. So tell me about the first person that comes to mind for you when you think of success, and why.
Okay. So when I think about success, there's a lot of definitions and how you define it. It's a question, I guess, that's got a lot of definitions. So what I like to do personally is, instead of thinking of a person first, I like to think of an area. Whether they're successful, spiritually, how's that walk with Jesus, or whether they've got a successful marriage, or whether it's a successful business. And if it's a successful business, are you talking about company culture, or are you talking about just making money? So I try to identify the areas first, and then identify the people. And then, who in my realm do I have access to in those areas that, I can get closer to and learn from? Because, that's what, when you identify successful people, really you're trying to learn from them and what you can bring to you personally and professionally. So that's how I like to go about it. No particular names, but really just identify fields and then increase my personal growth in those fields.
Yeah, I think you're ready for coaching, because you answered a question by asking questions. That's like the perfect answer. There is no right answer, right? It's all about Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more that personal development is paramount and typically the first step for professional development and success in business. I mean, you can't out and earn your learning, and if you're not growing personally, you're dying, right? There's only two paths. So, well
Absolutely.
said. Great answer. So you told me, I think, what I may have forgotten. So, Sauls Storage Group started when? What was the year? How long have you been in business?
So we've been in Sauls Storage Group. We've been in the self-storage brokerage business since about 2018. Sauls Storage Group came about in about 2020.
Okay. All right. So you've been at this about 5 years. What would you say along that in that 5 year journey has been some of the best or richest learning for you on that journey?
So whether it's negotiations in real estate or in business or whatever it is, one of the biggest things that I've learned is everybody doesn't place value in the same spot. And where they place value a lot of times is where they get their motivation from. So, for example, if someone's got a 1031 exchange going, well, they're going to put a whole lot of value on time, or they're going to have to pay a lot of taxes. To whereas, some people may put it on security. Some people may put it on return, but it's not always related to the dollar, even in business. When I got my real estate license, I was like, I'm going to do commercial real estate because I don't want to deal with the drama, or the emotional side of selling. Well, I don't think it may be worse in commercial real estate. People still get attached to their businesses, attached to their egos. So really just trying to figure out where people are putting the value. Maybe it's just in opportunity. And you can bring that value there. Maybe it's in capital, maybe it's intellectual capital. But the biggest thing that I've learned is not everybody puts value in the same spot as you, and figuring out where they do put that value can help you leaps and bounds.
Yeah, that's a very emotional, mature response. It's kind of aligned with what we call the iceberg principle, right? The 10% above the water line, the 90% below. And what we typically see above that, is goals and actions and all that kind of stuff, that profit, whatever, the things that we typically measure in business. But the success of all that and the connection, it's human beings, as you're talking about, is stuff below that, right? It's your identity.
Much harder to get to. I mean, they call it below the water for a reason. You can't see it, and most people don't want to share it.
No, exactly right. But the better you connect to those beliefs and those, the behaviors, all those motivators, as you call them, right? That's the way you really can maximize the success of the stuff above the waterline. So that's a great response, man. Super. Okay, so you're 5 years in. Go out 5 years from now. What's the aspiration? What's the vision? What's the dream for Sauls Storage Group in exactly twice the amount of time that you've been working in this industry, in this business?
Yeah. So, goal one, grow market share. We compete when you get into specialization, which I highly recommend in any business. Specialization, it's harder up front, because you're dealing and competing against other specialists who've been there longer than you. There's not as much low-hanging fruit, but highly recommend whatever you do to specialize in it. So 5 years from now, we want to continue to grow market share. We want to help more storage facility owners, and we want to add to our services. So one thing that we're working on for 2024 is a turnkey development and general contracting service. Hopefully Q1, Q2 of 2024, we'll be able to, provide that service to clients, whether it's through the turnkey development side of entitlement, handing it over with your operational systems ready, or if it's an expansion project. We've seen a lot of people in the storage space, particularly in the general contracting side, have found it difficult to be a national or regional general contractor for smaller projects, like expansions, whether that's 5,000, 10,000 square foot, which may sound big, but in the storage realm is a small project. So that's the plan for the next 5 years, to grow market share in brokerage, build the team, support staff, infrastructure, and then push that new service line.
Yeah, I like it. I like the two-prong approach, right? To increase the service line is just to get, you talk about market share, but that's growing the service line is also wallet share, right? So higher deliverable of the same client, but a bigger expansion of services for him.
Absolutely. And right now in the storage space, storage is super fragmented. So like something like 65% of the storage facilities owned in the country are what they call mom and pop. They're one store operators, they're local operators. And that 65% is getting consolidated by the bigger guys quicker and quicker and quicker. So on the brokerage side, those people, those relationships and clients are, for the most part, a one-time deal from our side of the business. You'll spend years getting to know them and creating that rapport and relationship. And then once they sell it, they're retired. They're not doing anything else. And then that general contracting side will be able to better establish us with the consolidators and the bigger operators, be able to cross-sell them services and create an ongoing relationship, just not when they're ready to sell, but through multiple points of, their self-storage journey.
Yeah. I get it. So, I'm a business coach, so I have to ask this question. Who's been your best coach in life and why? And doesn't have to be a business coach, right? Doesn't have to be a formal coach, but who comes to mind when you think about the most impactful coach for you and why?
Yeah. So I think about coach, I think about, training, molding, improving you. And when I think about that, I've got to give it to my parents. I'm the person I am today because of them. Have the mentality and the attributes that I do because, they've ingrained them in us since we were little. And not only that, especially growing up, they've done a substantial job of who they allowed to also coach us, whether that's in sports or, just be around in general. They've done a phenomenal job in the other adults that they let into our lives from a leadership position, whether that's coaching in base. Funny thing is, one of my travel ball coaches, I went through school with both of his kids. He coached me since I was 9. Now both of my brothers work at his company. And so it's, he's phenomenal in business, phenomenal leader, phenomenal coach. And, so I've been surrounded by a lot of great people, but definitely got to tip my hat to my parents. Phenomenal job.
Yeah, it warmed my heart anytime I hear that answer from, and your explanation was excellent because, there's a saying that you become, who you hang out with, right? So I think it is a great parent responsibility to ensure that the people that influence especially in the development years and the moldability years, that the people you're hanging out with are the right influences. So hats off to your parents. Well done to them.
Got to. Yeah.
So you are obviously a lot closer to your 18-year-old self than yours truly here. So your journey back in time is not going to be too long. Mine will be a little more difficult. But we're going to put you on that time machine. Going to zoom you back to your 18th birthday. You got a one-on-one chat with yourself by the fireside. What advice do you give to your 18-year-old self, Luke?
I think I guess two parts. One, I would be more intentional, both in what I was doing and who with, and the people around me. Because 10 years down the road, really at 18, you don't know where you're going to be at, and you definitely don't know where other people are going to be at. And especially the line of business that we're in, it is relationship based. So more intentional. And then his second thing is, I would tell myself is, at 18, I particularly didn't have a plan. I was 18. I just graduated high school. I knew I was going to go to college because that's what my parents told me to do. From ever since we were little. So I was going to go to college. I was going to get a degree, didn't really know what I was going to do. But I think that if I was just more forward looking outside of the next step, even if it was going to change, that's completely fine. But just to establish a goal or a plan to work towards outside of, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get a degree, and then figure it out from there. So really just put it on paper, put it in your mind, figure out, some direction outside of, the next step, the further steps you can look down and see, the more successful you'll be. So just intentionally look further down the road than I did, and then be more intentional with, with the people I was around. So like, for example, I mentioned earlier that we were looking at doing a turnkey development construction company. And we're actually looking to do that with a partnership of an existing general contracting firm here in town. They are in multifamily, medical, hospitality, industrial. They're currently not in self-storage. That's one of the things that we'll bring the value to. But the funny thing there, as far as being intentional, I had no idea when I was in high school that I was the center and the quarterback is who we're partnering with, right? Yeah. So his dad, it's a 50-year-old family company. I went to school with, both the kids. Both of his sons played sports with them through, but in high school, you have no idea that kind of thing is going to come up. So it's really cool to see some of that's happening now, and I wonder what more could have came if I was more intentional.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever given this response in an interview, but when you talk about intentionality and focus, right? And I'm an engineer by training, and there's a law in thermodynamics called the second law, which says that chaos will always increase unless there's intention, right? So unless there's a design, a purpose, a direction, other than that, chaos always increases, right? So whether the vision of your 18-year-old self at the time and the focus was right or wrong, not necessarily the point. The point I think you're making is have a focus and direction and intention. You can always change it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, I had to throw some engineering logic in there. Apologies.
Yeah, and two, I think it's a benefit or to be able to change and not necessarily just tie your ego to that decision to live the rest of your life by. But it can be a superpower to be able to change, of course, as long as that changes with intention and with a plan again. But being able to do so, especially in markets and things like that, is important to be able to pivot and shift, and is really a benefit of small companies like ourselves. I mean, when we compete for deals and listings, we compete against national companies, national brands, lot more support staff, a lot more infrastructure, but there's areas that we can beat them on, which is service, and then being able to pivot and change to outmaneuver. So yeah. But intentionality is the point.
Yeah, flexibly focused. Yeah. F squared, maybe just coined a new term. All right, sir. Well, it's been a real pleasure to meet you, listen to you talk. It sounds like you guys are blowing and going and fighting for or competing for all the right reasons. Pretty cool story, especially a family business. I love family businesses. So I guess last chance, just ask you to give if anybody out there wants more information, commercial real estate, storage real estate, wants to get in and want to get out of it, whatever. Last chance for you to kind of make sure they know how to contact you, where to look you up, etc. Make sure that they give you a chance at Sauls Storage Group to support them. The floor is yours.
So educational wise, I'm a big advocate. If you're interested in the self-storage industry, join your local associations. Just about every state has a self-storage association that meets regular to semi-regular, depending on which state that you're dealing with. There's also a national association, but they're going to bring great educational content, and as well as networking. So if you're looking into getting into self-storage, that's a good place to start. And then we publish newsletters. You can go to our website, saulsstoragegroup.com. You can see what we've got going on as far as listings and available properties. You can see our articles that we try to publish an article about once a month. So you can sign up for our newsletters there, get into our email database. And then me personally, my phone number is on the website. My email address is Luke@Sauls Storage Group. And we live and breathe self-storage. So if anybody wants to talk storage, we're here for it.
Excellent. Perfect ending. Saul, it's been an absolute pleasure. Luke, sorry. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'm looking forward to great things. I'll definitely personally sign up for your newsletter so I can keep tabs of y'all. And I wish Sauls Storage Group, yourself and your mother, all the best. I've enjoyed it today.
Thank you. It was a great time.
Excellent. Talk to you later.
See you.